Hello, everyone. We've got quite a lot of people that are subscribed to this training, but there's a few that are watching on replay. So might be a bit quiet on here today, but that means you can ask lots of questions at the end. Um, and if you're watching on replay, hello. That's okay too. There's a few people that might be coming in a little bit later on as we go along. So hello to everybody. It's just a really busy week and it's such nice weather as well. So thank you all for joining live and hello for those of you on replay. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Helen, Helen Tebay, and I spend my time with business owners, service-based business owners like yourselves to help sell and market your absolute amazingness. Help you to develop the skills to connect with your best clients, to build a simple marketing plan and messaging process to activate people and then learn how to sell really well, learn how to convert that into paid invoices. And you can do it in your way and you can do it really, really well in the way that you want to do it. And a lot of people tell me they already knew how to do that, but they really like it when they realize they get to do it their way. And I think that's one of the things that I help people with is you get to do it the way you want to do it in your business. So you don't need the gift of the gab or anything like that. You don't need to change who you are. You can sell in your own style, in your own voice, without being loud and shouty, unless you want to be loud and shouty. Oh, we're just getting everybody coming in now. Great. So, Angela, you're going to keep an eye on the waiting room. Yeah, so today I'm going to show you the skills to create 7 to 10K months. Now, your revenue figure might be a little bit different to that. It might be smaller or bigger. It doesn't matter. That's just like a very common revenue figure that people ask me. That's what would look good if we were to work together. But it's same applies. So it's always closer than you think, and it's always simpler than you think. And that's what usually the byproduct is when we get to the end of the coaching together, people always say to me, I can't believe I was doing it the hard way. I didn't know it could be this simple to create more revenue, more clients. And I think the cool thing is when you learn these skills properly, you learn them for life. One of my clients actually changed jobs and industry completely, and she used them exact skills to sell static caravans. So she's actually working in a caravan site and she sold something that was worth £80,000. And she was like, I just never felt like I could do that. She came in chronically fearful of selling and having conversations, and now she's got her own business and she sells things like that. And I asked her, how does it feel after? And she said, so good. Really fun, just like a conversation between two people. So this is what always happens. We are the ones that overcomplicate the shit out of it with our thinking, with our doing. We're just adding more into the pot because we think that's what we're taught to do. And what I want to share with you today is we're going to create the identity first, and then the money follows after that. Because if there's something in you where you're setting your money goal, and you don't believe it's possible, or you don't think people like you make that kind of money, or you think it's going to be hard and difficult, you don't think it's possible to do it in the way that you've planned it to, it is not going to work. There's no amount of manifestation or willingness or tactic that you can get to circumnavigate this. And I see so many people putting the effort in there instead of the effort in to learn the skills to how to sell well. And that's what I help you create, the identity of a business owner who feels really capable, really assured, really confident. They're getting that confidence from the momentum. They see it working. They know what they're doing. They know what they're saying. They're not second guessing themselves in their own business. And that's what creates the consistent revenue. That's what makes it feels good because you can see it's working. And this is something that I wanted to share with you today because when you were registering, I asked you all a question around what have you tried that you felt like should have worked by now, but it hasn't actually increased your revenue? And the things that you all told me were like the external stuff. So I'm networking more, I'm putting more LinkedIn posts out, I'm doing titivating my website, I'm sending lots of DMs, I'm sharing content, I'm offering lower ticket stuff because the higher ticket stuff, like no one's biting, no one's got any money at that stage. Creating processes, I'm like doubling down on hosting events, and every single answer was external. Everything was external. That's kind of what I anticipated to see because that's what I thought when I started making more money. I was like, I'll have to double down on the doing shit. That's what makes more. And it's just kind of like what we're taught. When you especially when you come out of employment, you think, well, the only way that I could make more money there was to like sacrifice more, to give more time, to make more widgets, to like do some overtime, to put an extra shift in, to prove my worth, then I might get paid more. And it's just when we apply that thinking into creating something from your brain when you're self-employed and putting it out there, we have to do this identity work first, otherwise it always just like falls down. And some of you were really honest in the comments. You were like, I feel scared to choose because what if it's the wrong thing that I choose? Some of you said I'm doing lots of different things because, or I've changed the mechanism or the channel because I've decided it just stopped working for me. And you feel left behind with that and sad and like starting to feel really isolated. And I just don't want that for any of you. And that all boils down to one thing, which is your brain will only let you go all in when it knows it's going to work. And we never know how it's going to flush out. That's the reality of it. It's just the reality of building a business. It's all risk. It's your relationship with that, which dictates how much value and revenue and clients and money you can create. So we're going to look at your relationship with the money figure that you're going to choose today, and we're going to start to build the identity that sits behind it. So the question is never what's the right place to hang out, what's the right thing to say, what's the right price to choose, is this the right offer, have I got my strategy right? The question you're always going to be coming back to is, am I decided enough that this is the thing to make work? This is the thing I want to learn to get good at. That's the thing. And then you keep going and you back yourself and you troubleshoot, because the reality is all avenues of marketing work. Every strategy exists because it worked for someone. The right one is the one that you're willing to get good at making work. And for me, when I help my clients, I'm always trying to make that as simple as possible, because that's the thing you're going to stick to. If it's super complicated, you're going to stick to it for like, it's like a diet. You're going to stick to it for a couple of weeks and then you're just going to give up because it's too hard and difficult. That's how you're going to make the consistent money. Simplicity, less, and then learning the skills to build this identity. And then the doing stuff is like, honestly, you could make these decisions in like 10 minutes, half an hour. So, but we put all our weight there and then we're like, why didn't it pay off? So this is what happens. We get the running order wrong every time. I think I might have had too much sun. If I get the words the wrong way round, I don't know. It's like my brain's seeing it, but it's coming out incorrectly. So we try and create the money first and hope we become that person after. No, you have a set of thoughts at the moment that support the figure you're at right now, and no amount of wanting it shifts it. Like it just doesn't. No amount of really wanting and willing that new money goal will make it happen. It's your job to come and start behaving like the person who already makes that money before you see the money land. Otherwise, you won't be doing the things to make it happen. You'll be getting distracted and working on shit that just does not make you consistent money. So, what happens is when you don't get decided on the identity thoughts, and I'm going to share what they are so that this will make sense. But when you don't get decided on that like foundational level, like this is the thing that I want, it works, it's possible to make money this way, it gets to be simple, my offer is in demand, I can deliver on this time and time again and not get tired. There's so many people that want it. When you're at that identity level and that foundational level, every time something doesn't go as you expected, you won't want to stop. You're not going to like give up and start somewhere else and tell yourself, well, that one didn't work. Actually, what happened was you created an expectation from somewhere and the reality just didn't match up to it. And then you bailed before finding out what you were actually capable of. And I see this happen so often. I did it. I did this and I created a ceiling, and I needed coaching because I didn't realize that's what I was doing. And I remember speaking to my coach and saying, I just feel like this session, like this group of sessions, just hasn't been as effective as the others. And she said, yeah, do you want to know why? And I'm like, yes, please. And she's like, because you keep distracting. You keep pulling me back to coach you over here, and I'm trying to coach you over here because this is where the money is. This is where the impact is. This is where like this version of you is. And every time we go there, you almost like have a mental tantrum to pull you back here. And so we're going to look at that now. There's nowhere else to look at. We're going to look at it. I'm like, oh my God, this is so interesting. So now I've gone through it. You can trust it because I've gone through it. I can help you through it. And I can spot it really quickly. It's like, seems like a very, very like real and logical pattern that's happening. And of course, this isn't, I'm not having a dig here either, because like this is just what we do. The whole industry of marketing points you to tactics, more content, better funnels, different platforms. Try this over here. You see your friend doing that, they're getting amazing results, so I'll go over here. Meanwhile, the thing actually running the show just stays completely untouched. We never up the skill level or our identity to feel safe, capable, responsible of making that kind of money. Um, so that's what is happening. And I don't think anybody's teaching this stuff out because I tried to find it. It took me ages to find someone to help me with it. So I'm like, this is what I'm going to share with you. And we're going to go through this live together as an exercise. And at the end, I'll share how you can continue the work doing this with me if it feels right for you. And if you're watching on replay, hello as well. You can do this exercise. You can come back. You're going to, whether you're here live or on replay, you're going to get the share of this video so you can keep coming back to this. Angela's going to be watching and keeping an eye on the chat. So the first thing I want you to do, we're going to go through this quite quickly. We don't need to spend forever in a day on this. You just need to get very decided on it. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at your different revenue figure, your today, right now figure. Because I see this a lot where you might have gone through this as well, where you get really excited about a new revenue goal, you write it down, you feel the buzz of it. You've told yourself this is the year we're going to make the 10K months or the 7K months or the 6K months. And you've gone out into the world to actually create it and you've thought, shit, I actually don't know how to sell at that level. I don't know anyone that would pay for that. You start visualizing it, you start writing it on sticky notes, you put it on a vision board. But if you can't show up as the person who welcomes that in, who knows it's possible, who believes that you can create it and deliver it and be responsible for it, it's not going to happen. You won't let it happen because you have a set of thoughts that support that existing figure that you keep seeing in your bank account today. Like I say, no amount of wanting and willing that to change will just happen on its own. That's what identity is. These phrases get like bandied about: identity, mindset. Identity is a set of thoughts that support what you think. It's not a personality type, it's not a label, it's your sense of self. It's the set of qualities, beliefs, and personality traits that you think are true about you. And right now, whether you like it or not, or whether you're aware of it or not, that identity has put a cap, a ceiling, it's got it built in as to what you can do and what you can achieve. So it's like creating a 100K revenue goal, and on like maths, looking at it, I'll sell 10 of them throughout the year. That seems really easy, really doable. The maths works out, the vision's compelling, you know who wants it, you know it's very valuable. You go out and start talking about it, and someone starts raising a little eyebrow. This happened to me. Someone was like, there's no way you can sell that. You can't sell stuff like that. Um, Someone laughs or chortles a little bit, like a bit of air comes out, like, and a few conversations go nowhere. You maybe book people on sales calls, but they don't actually move anywhere. And then slowly you start rolling that figure back. And then you create an offer that captures the people who can't afford that original price. Maybe you're like, I know what 10K is nothing. I'll sell at 5K, or I'll do a 6K offer. No one bites at that. So then you do a £50 offer. No one's biting at that. Then you've got lots of different offers and you have not done the work needed to sell and market any of that. And it's like I say, it's not your fault. We're taught to do this stuff. And then people just get flummoxed and like, well, I don't know what's going on. It's because we've really overcomplicated it. So this is about tapping into your level of possibility, your ability to create that figure, to welcome it in, to ask for it, to be paid for it, to deliver on it. So that, like, this is what we do. And what happens is that that goal didn't fail. It wasn't the wrong figure. It's just your identity just didn't stretch to match it. and we fill that gap with busy strategy work. It's not the work to fill it with, it's skill, and learning to feel safe and responsible with a new figure. So we have to behave like the person who makes that money already before you see it land in your bank, not the other way around. So I want you to do something right now. Get a pen and paper, or if you're digital. I like pen and paper because you can write it down and you can see it written out. There's something cathartic about coming out of your brain. But however you do these kind of exercises. And then over the next year or 6 months, however you want to decide to do it, how much money do you want to make? Split it down into a monthly figure. Could be 4K a month, could be 6K a month, 10K a month, whatever it is for you. It's not something that's massively terrifying. It can't be like, it's that figure, I really want it, but I can't even look at it. It's so out of reach, not that figure. There are times when I ask my clients to look at that in coaching, but for this exercise, we're not going to do that. We're just looking at something that is a baseline, consistent figure that would be your new normal, something that feels within reach, feels amazing. Part of you already knows it's possible, but part of you is a little bit scared and doesn't know how to do it. That figure. So, over the next year or 6 months, what figure do you want to consistently see in your bank that would just be like so calming, so kind of like a life changing? It would just be dreamy to see it. Just write it down because we want to engage with it and build a relationship with it today. If you want to, you can come off and just pop it in the chat. Oh, you have 10K per month minimum. Amazing. Love it, Liz. Pop it in the chat. What is your figure? And then I want you to start thinking of yourself as someone who makes this every month as your new standard. Not one day, not like eventually, or like maybe at some point, a baseline figure that feels amazing. We want to engage with it. That's the number that you're going to welcome in. You're going to come to expect it. This is what I expect. This is what I welcome in. This is very normal for me. That's the version of you that we're building today. So we're going to find out who that is. Has everyone got a figure? We're going to build our identity map. 30K per month, 10K per month. Love it. Oh, I love it, Liz. You've got it on the wall in front of you. Lara, when we were talking, you actually had a check. I loved
I
it. It
have.
was like a
I've
little
changed
check.
it. It's here. I'll show you.
Yay! Just loved it. I was
I'm
like,
trying
I've
to
written it.
reprint it so I can write it neater because I've crossed out the old figure and written the new figure over the top, and that's giving me anxiety. So it's literally
The
what I'm trying
figure
to
or
do
the
now
fact
is
that
print
you've
out a new universe check.
universe check, I love it. You have placed the
Yeah.
order with the universe. What we
Yeah.
need you to do is get out of the fucking way of it, and start dialing into the person who already knows that that is possible to create. Not like maybe one day or anything. This is what happens. We start meddling. The universe is like, oh, I thought you wanted it, and now you're looking like you don't want it. So we want it really clear, really in there, and you are very decided on that figure. You know that there's a part of you in you that can already do that, because to come up with that figure, it's in you. So that's how I know. So we're going to work through this kind of one question at a time. And there's like 5 questions. So you can make a note of these and come back to them. And just have a little think about what pops up immediately, because that will always be the thing. Sometimes I coach people and something comes up really quickly and they're like, oh, no, 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 it can't be that thing. And they say it like 3 times and then discount it 3 times. And like, that's the thing, because it keeps coming up. So when you're making your, what have we got? 10K month, 30K month, 6K month. How do you think at that level? Already made it, you're consistently seeing it coming in. I want you to take your brain there. How do you think when you've made that money? How do you think about your business and the results that you create? How do you think about your clients? I bet you're not thinking, I just need to get clients, I need to get more clients. You're like, I know how to create clients, I have a pipeline of them. Because you've got a consistent revenue. So you know how to do it. So you're thinking different things. What we want to do is bring that into the here and now. So we're going to go through the exercise. And if your brain's like fighting against you already, going, yeah, but that's not happening right now, I want you to take it to the place where you know it's happened. So what would I take your best guess? What would I be thinking if I've already made 10K a month? Because I certainly am not thinking my business is shit and in the toilet and I've got 3 months left and then I'm closing it. Or I've got really shit results in my business. So I'm questioning the value that I put out and whether I can get results for my clients. You know those two things are not connected when you're making that amount of money. I've had zero in my bank account and all my clients have been making more money than me. It's two are not connected, but we will connect them. But when you're making that consistent money, you have distance between that thought. You're not thinking that. You know how to create clients because you've got a steady flow of them. How do you think at that level? You're not telling yourself clients aren't buying or the market's tough and no one's got any money because you've got the evidence. You're like, oh, I can make consistent money. You can't be making 10K consistently and telling yourself people aren't buying. Maybe you think about your clients with excitement. You believe people are out there. They're very resourceful. They're resourceful enough to invest when the fit's right. They can decide quickly and they can pay you. And this is a really important one. How do you think about yourself? Actually, I haven't put that on that slide, but not someone that, oh, I'll try it and wait and see. We'll give it a go. It might work out. I'll just like take a punt on it. Or someone who already knows it works. It's possible. Of course, we're going to make it work. It's already worked because we've seen the money. When I set my revenue goal initially in year one, I set it out at I think it was 100K. It was 100K. I had no idea how to do it. I just knew it was going to happen. I backed myself. I was like, I burnt the boats. It's like it's happening. And I think it was like 98. So I'm going to call that like it happened. We took K off it for all intents and purposes. It happened. So I didn't know how I was going to do that, but I was like, I'm going to keep going and figuring it out. It's going to happen. It's possible. It's doable. I wasn't like, oh, well, I'll put 100K and then, yeah, whatever we make's all right. No, I was not thinking like that. How are you thinking about sales and marketing? Are you flip-flopping all over the place, or have you got a chosen pathway and you stick to it and you trust it? This is the way I have chosen to market, and I just am going to get good at doing that. Are you really connected to your best clients, or are you trying to convince everybody that they should work with you? I think you're probably more connected to your best clients when you've made that consistent money. You don't question the plan, you stick by it. You become the person who makes it work because you love the reasons why you chose it in the first place. Simple, it's showing up in places that you actually want to be because you know it's possible to create money from those places. You're not dreading sales calls or finding reasons to put off a follow up. Think, oh, I know how to do this. Show up like this. Help them make a decision. That's my job. So write down the thoughts your new revenue self, your 6K, 10K, 30K month self already has about your business, about your clients, about yourself, about how you sell and market. Someone was saying to me the other day that the business results, the money results were not where they wanted them to be. And they had a lot of friends and family coming over and they were all having like a family barbecue. And they were like, I'm dreading it. And I said, oh, because like, why are you dreading it? I was thinking the family element. So if all my family came and had a barbecue, well, it would be entertaining for people, but not for me. So yeah, she said no, because I'm dreading everybody asking me how's business going. And I'm like, oh my God, a bit of me died. I was like, what? Why? And she was like, because it's just not where I want it to be. And I'm like, but tell me what's, and so the money isn't where I wanted it to be. But I asked her, like, where's the evidence of it all working? Why is it still a success? It's making money. You've got clients. You're having some great conversations. You're showing up. You're doing like things that you weren't doing before in less time. You're learning like skills. You've got confidence. You can see the momentum. It's just the invoices haven't caught up yet. That's all that's happening. And she was like, yeah, it's actually pretty awesome what I'm doing. I'm like, yeah, go and tell them that. But this is what we do. We're like, unless I've got the big thing, I'm not celebrating it. So how do you think when you're at that 10K, 30K, 9K, 6K? I bet you're not thinking some of the things that you're thinking now today. And is it any wonder that we don't have the result that we want when we're walking around with all that like negatude, that kind of like default thinking? So, question number two, what do you think your value is worth? What do you think about the exchange of value that you provide? The value, the results of the results. So when someone pays you, they're not paying for coaching, not paying for marketing support, they're paying for the thing that happens off the back of that. Do you know what changes for your clients when they buy you? Like, I really want you to sit with this. Honestly, it brought me to tears when I thought about it. It is life changing, the stuff that you guys do, business changing for people. Their life and their business, in whatever context you sell, will never be the same again once they buy from you. Do you know all that changes and compounds out? Because your person who's made that version of you that's made that kind of money, she knows that. He knows that. They are locked into that. Maybe you're walking around at that level thinking, my God, this insight that I've got, the way I see my industry and the way I see my offer and the way that I deliver is so valuable. You're thinking of all the ways that it genuinely changes someone's business and life. You're totally locked into the results. You'll run through walls for your clients. You share all the value freely. You don't hold anything back because you trust that sharing is drawing the right people in. You're not holding things back. You're certainly not like, oh, I can't share that. I can't show up like that, even though I really want to. Someone that I used to work with might have something to say about that. Or people might disagree with that. You're not worried about any of that. You're not dismissing your own knowledge because it feels obvious to you. Just coaching someone in the group actually today, the sales refresh, the group program, and they were like, "I'm really struggling to find new things to say." And I'm like, "Why does it have to be new?" And they're like, "Because I'm really bored of it." I'm like, "Yeah." Nobody tells you this consistent revenue can be boring at times. We're always looking for that dopamine hit, and then we go and change a bunch of stuff. And that very consistent message that gets you known by your clients for the value you deliver gets dissipated, or you try and zhuzh it up a little bit. And the zhuzhing up and the marketing up just changes the core thing that somebody needed to hear. So, yeah, sometimes it's a little boring. But I know your future self knows that when you're making 10K, 6K, you're okay being a bit bored. That's fine. It's very samey for you. It's very obvious to your clients. Do you remember the first time you learned that insight and your mind was blown and it allowed you to go and do all this other stuff and it opened up this fresh thinking? That's what happens when your clients hear that. But you're like, oh, it's really obvious. I assume they know that. I won't tell them that. They're waiting to hear it. You know that. So what feels like obvious, samey, boring shit for you, where you're like, do I really have to say this again? Yeah, probably have to say it 50, 60 times this year and then keep doing it year after year after year. What, like how is that not boring? It's a revelation for your clients. Go there, get excited for that. So do you know what actually changes for your clients when they buy from you? Do you know how valuable that is? How does that keep compounding out? Have you just forgotten that along the way? And that I'd say is one of the first things that shifts for people when they come in and they go through this process and they get coaching. Pam, one of my clients, an amazing, she's in recruitment, and she'd just forgotten. She'd just forgotten how damn valuable what she does is, because she just heard from a few people different things like the market's really like shit, it's a hard market, no one's making any money, or it's difficult. And that changed how she showed up. She just forgot. So one of the most core things, the first thing that you do is you connect back in with the value of your offer, and you remember, I know why I created this for these people because it's really helpful. I just forgot. So maybe there's some things that you want to say that your future self just popped in your head and go, I'd be telling them this kind of stuff. I wouldn't be holding back on that. I'd say it like that. And then you just calibrate against what's happening now. Go and start doing that today. Do not wait for those 10K months, 9K months, 6K months, 30K months to say it, because that's what creates that. Do it now. Do it before you feel ready. Just say it. Do not hold things back. Someone out there's waiting to hear it. And then do you know exactly how valuable what you have is to your buyers, and trust that there are people out there who will value it and pay what you're asking. So, what does your new revenue self think about the value you offer? They know 100% it's worth it. They know it's an amazing exchange of value. And when Pam changed that, I honestly I can't even keep up. Um, I think we were at like 10, maybe 12K months. And she was like, literally came in. That's in the difference of 6 weeks. Now her fees might be a little bit higher than you, but you can factor that in up into your world, what you're charging. That's how fast this stuff can shift. Sometimes it's just that one thing. Like I'm saying the things, going through the motions with the marketing, but I have forgotten what I'm doing here and why and how valuable it is and what someone needs to hear. So I'm ticking the boxes, I'm doing the marketing. Why is it not working? Because there's a part of you that's forgotten this. But your clients need you to know this. That's how you make something useful and impactful, by thinking that. So the third question, I love this one because this is where all the drama is. This is what basically coaching is there for. Such a good mechanism to help with this. What are you doing and how fast are you doing it? So right now, I think a lot of people are waiting for that perfect moment. They're overthinking. They want to like, I want to make sure it's 100% going to work out. I'm not going to move on it until I've got everything like in play. And they never decide. They never decide their offer. They never decide the price. I'll put it out and wait and see. Or I want to do this thing. One of my she's a friend. One of my clients wanted to do some teaching. She wanted to do a webinar, and she was like, oh, "I just can't do it." And I was like, we had to drill into it, and it was just the fear of judgment. That's all it was. That was like her fear of how much she was judging herself was stopping her from getting her message out in the way that she wanted to. And we had a look at that, and she was like, "Oh, I'm waiting for it to feel good. I'm waiting for it to not feel hard." And I was like, "You're probably going to feel that after the video number 5. But if you could do video number 5 and do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, by Friday, you could feel completely different about this. How fast would your results compound if you just did that?" So she did it. And she was like, "My God, people are commenting on it. I'm able to get all the value out in the best possible way. I've booked a sales call." Like, this is all the stuff that happens when we get out of our own way. So your new revenue self decides how fast you can take action without the need for certainty first. You will have a different relationship at that new revenue figure with confusion, doubt, and overwhelm. It's not that you're not going to have those things, you will have them, possibly. People think the more money you earn, like all that goes away. No, it's just there in different guises, different nuances. Your tolerance for letting them stop you is zero. So right now, what kind of things do you want to do, whether that's marketing, selling, your offer, your pricing? What is it in your business you want to do? And you're like, I can't do that because I'm not ready. I don't have the skills. I'm not an expert. I need another case study. Maybe a few more months, maybe at the end of summer when I don't have as much shit going on. Like, none of that stuff's going to stop you when you've made that kind of money. So it could be when you're making your 10K sale, what do they say about like how fast you're doing and what how fast are you getting into action? What's that lag between thinking and talking yourself out of it and doing? It's very minimal. It's non-existent. So it might be, I feel a bit confused today and what to say. Well, I know for sure I'm never confused when I say this kind of stuff. So I'm just going to say that again and I'm going to go and do it immediately. So you're probably right now waiting for that perfect moment, overthinking, letting doubt talk you out. Your new revenue self decides fast, doesn't need certainty first, doesn't need anything external. You've chosen a path, you back it, you get into discomfort, you stay there long enough to find out what's going on, you learn a skill, you do, you take action, and then the result is on the other side of it. That process is shortened. So, what's your new revenue self doing that you're not doing yet? How fast is she making decisions? What's his relationship with not knowing? What's coming up for you, by the way? Oh, that's great, Liz. Yeah, I usually launch well before I feel ready. Fantastic. Good. Question number four. Again, lots of drama lives here. Lots of drama. This has got the power to like unravel a lot of traction. So, what do you do when it goes wrong? And you'll notice I say when it goes wrong because it will go wrong. We will have an expectation it should go like this, and reality is often something very different. So all that's happened is you created an expectation out of something, and then things just didn't happen in the way you expected. Sometimes that's like just a relief where you're like, oh, nothing's gone wrong. I just thought it would go like this. But it's going to happen. Sales calls that don't convert as you thought, launches that just go a bit quieter than what you thought, clients who go quiet, months where you don't hit the figure. But when you're at that consistent revenue goal, your tolerance for failure is high. You know how to pick yourself up and go again. You know how to learn from it fast, not make it mean something terrible about you or what you do. But before you make that steady revenue, when something doesn't go to plan, I know we make it mean all sorts of things. The offer was wrong. That was the price that was wrong. Nobody wants this. I had one lady that was coaching. She picked a new revenue goal. She got very decided on it. She went out and spoke to a bunch of people, and two people said it was ridiculously like high price and no one would ever buy it, and two people were like, that's too cheap. It's almost like suspicious. Like something doesn't feel right. And she was like, "Who's right?" And I'm like, "You're right." Go back to the reasons that you chose that price. And then you just get to ask them some questions about that because you've got a process for exploring that in a sales conversation. So when you're at consistent revenue, you don't unravel stuff, you don't make it mean anything terrible about you and your business and what you're doing. All that actually happens, like I said, you have an expectation and the reality just didn't match it. You get to learn from that and go again. This matters so much, especially when it comes to marketing. You know, LinkedIn stopped working for me. No, it's just we've forgotten how to communicate to our clients. Our clients are getting a little bit more discerning now. They want some more like certainty and conviction that things are going to flush out a result. They want to know how you're going to get them a result. They just are looking for different um, pieces of information that help get them to a decision faster. That's it. Just haven't learned how to do that. Haven't learned how to activate them. So when you don't see the results that you expected, you don't throw the whole plan out and start again. You stay the course. So what will you tell yourself in that moment? How supportive will you actually be with yourself? backing yourself until it works is how you make consistent money. When you're changing all the time, oh, I know what, I think I'm going to get a quicker win with TikTok. I'm going to go and learn how to do that. You're starting over again every time. And that is what causes the inconsistency, the confusion, the delay in you making money. So, what's your new revenue self's relationship with failure? The fifth question: how often do you celebrate and what do you celebrate? I love this one. It's just so cheeky because the response I normally get is not very often. Or I only wait until there's nothing to celebrate. I'll wait until I actually sign a client. I had someone that was, I said, put that win in the channel in the group. She was oh her thing was I wanted to get people on a sales call. So we'd done that, but then the sales call hadn't converted. And they said that it was going to be a no. And I was like, how can you celebrate all of that? And she was like, there is nothing to celebrate here. Why would I celebrate that? I'm like, yeah, why would you? That was the goal. You did the goal. You got them to a call. So celebrate that because you know how to do that now. Just need to do that more and more times so that we can have more opportunities. And then we need to learn how to convert. So which bit of the call do you think you did really well, and which bit of the call did we forget about and not know how to do? Where's the skill building needed? I remember going to my business coach, and this is the thing, like keep showing up when it feels hard, keep looking for the evidence that it is working. I had 10 sales calls and nobody bought, like nobody. And she was like, how is this the best news ever? And I'm like, I'm struggling to see the best news in this, if I'm honest. I am reaching a new level of disappointment. She's like, yes, so what do you want to do? I'm like, oh, obviously I'm going to keep going. She's like, great. Most people would have stopped, and most people would have gone and titivated their offer and like lowered the price and changed a bunch of stuff. I'm so pleased that you're just welcoming in a new level of disappointment. It feels a bit shit, but once you've made that 10K month, that 30K month, that 5K month, that 6K month, consistently, you will have a new relationship with disappointment and frustration. You'll be like, oh, it's disappointing. Let me go to work on figuring out what needs to be shifted. And with that client, I found out there was just one little bit that they needed to change with the call. That's it. It was just how to explain the value. With me, it was just like I wasn't completing the process. I'd missed one bit of the sales process out. And I teach this. This is how cheeky it is. This is how it gets in sometimes. So showing up when it felt hard, celebrating things that you probably didn't celebrate before, feeling new levels of things, joy as well and excitement, keeping going anyway. That's the evidence. Finding it on purpose is how you create the energy to keep going when it feels slow. Find the evidence it's working. So I wanted 10 sales calls. I got 10 sales calls. So marketing's working. Great. Now I just need to troubleshoot for this little bit here. And this is the thing, our money state, the state of our bank account and client value are two separate things. I've put it in twice because it's so important. We mangle it together. If I'm not making any money, this mustn't be valuable. The thing I've got isn't valuable. No one's finding this useful or helpful. So I'll have to change it. No, they're two separate things. Your bank balance in any given month does not dictate the quality and the value and the impact of what you deliver. You keep them separate. We find all the evidence so you can keep showing up, learning, moving, celebrating. So, what does your new revenue self celebrate? How often? What counts as a win? Every Friday now, I take the time out to celebrate the wins with all my clients, my one-to-one clients, direct message them, and people in the group. We have a whole channel of celebrations, and believe me, we don't just wait for a Friday to celebrate. Someone put something in on Monday, Tuesday, multiple times, and someone actually commented and went, "Oh my God, look at us go! How fucking amazing is this? Look at all the celebrations." I'm like, I know, it literally brought me to tears. I was so proud of the effort and the energy and what they're doing and solving for. So when you can get excited for your client results like that, I could have had zero in the bank account and still done that and still created that. That's how you continually create consistent money. You don't think your value goes up and down. You celebrate everything. So what does your new revenue self celebrate? What counts as a win? Maybe it's the small things. Maybe it's just like, I didn't overthink this, just did it faster. Didn't give myself a hard time about it. Something happened that was just against my expectations, and I'm okay with it. So now you should have an identity map, and that is your filter. Every decision, every action, every thought you have in your business, you run it through that identity map. What is this what my new revenue self would say about this situation? Is this what he or she would do? Is this how they would handle it? What would they be thinking and doing that I'm not doing right now? And that's how you collapse time between where you are now and where you want to be. It makes it so much simpler and easier to bring that money to you. So instead of you having a big goal or a consistent, steady goal that you want to achieve, and you have the thinking here, what happens is we bring that goal here. What we want is that goal to stay there, and you learn how to think, behave, act, move, embody that person that creates that. That's how you create it. See so many people doing it the other way around and getting really bummed out, and then they fill that busy time with just shit, tactical shit that's never going to work because they haven't learned how to show up as that version of themselves that creates that money. So that's the filter. Is this what my future 8K, 10K, 6K revenue self would do here? And then you just get to choose and act accordingly. Daily decisions, tiny little actions every single day. Every time there's a choice, you choose the version of you who's already got what you're building towards. Every time you choose this version of you, you just stay stuck creating the same money. So that's how you build towards. I'm a business owner who makes steady money every month. It's normal. It's what I come to expect. I know how to create value. I know how to get it out there and be paid accordingly for it. That's your identity map. You just built it. So you come back to this. This is the thing that shifts it every time. So does anybody want to just like come off mute or just pop in the chat, like something that you've noticed about yourself? What, you know, if you calibrate against how you're doing things now and what your future self says, where's the gap in any of those questions? Has anyone got anything that you want to share? Or is anybody really confused still?
Yeah, hi Helen. I mean, that's all
Yeah,
been,
Ben.
incredibly helpful. And like you say, it always just keeps looping back, doesn't it, to your own mindset.
Yeah.
With every part of this. Um, and we just sort of we make it hard for ourselves.
Don't we just? Yeah. When you're like, why does it feel so hard? And when you look back, sometimes you make money and you look back and you're like, why was that so difficult? Because you maybe had a thought that like to make more money, it has to be hard and difficult because that's the way we're taught it. So there's always these little things at play underneath, and sometimes you can't see them. That's why coaching is really useful and taking this time to look at it to go, why am I thinking that's the way? If there was a way to do it that was easier and simpler, what would that be? Why don't I just do that? And then we listen to what our brain tells us and we don't do it. Whereas that's the very point to jump and act and do and behave and think differently. Because that version already knows that's why you came up with it. Yeah. So good. Anybody got anything else? You can pop it in the chat if you don't want to come off mute.
I'm happy to share. I like what you said about the invoice. You know, it's still a win. It might not necessarily be the invoices come in. I mean, one of the things that I was talking to a friend about last night was I've signed a number of event collabs, and whilst it's not money into me, there's a lot of like donated costs. So, you know, like a venue for 1,500 that got given for free.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah.
it's sort of money and saved money, but you know, it's about celebrating those other things. So it's not necessarily just tied to a specific invoice.
Yeah. Yeah, you celebrate all those little wins that are getting you to the ultimate win. Because otherwise, if you only celebrate the ultimate win, i.e., paid money, of course, we want to celebrate that. But it makes it feel like there's nothing to celebrate, nothing good's happening, and then we feel shit about ourselves and our business. So yeah, I don't want that for any of you. So what I have for you is the identity map that you've just built is the starting point, because knowing who you need to become and actually becoming that person are two different things. There's going to be on the journey of executing that skills that you need to bolster. You know, an older version of you that we just lovingly have to thank for getting you here, but we also have to let that version of you go. And we need to be bolstering and creating this new version of you. And you've had a snapshot of this today. You can see where the gap is. So no, having a very supportive place that you can come, that when your old version of you pipes up, and I actually encourage a lot of my clients to name it. Sometimes they call them Karen or Shirley or whatever it is, but like when your version of it pipes up, you know, you've got a really supportive place to work through this and see what's actually going on. Because your old version of you is going to be they're going to offer very convincing reasons why the old way of working was safer. So your brain's wired to give you a safe, known result, even though it's so much lesser than what you know you're capable of achieving. And when you can see that, you're like, oh, I'm just fighting against myself. I need to like actually just identify what's going on and get a plan and learn the skills to be able to move through this. And that's where the work is. And that's exactly what we do in my group container, which is called the Sales Refresh. That's a 6 month container place where you can hang out. Some of you are hitting new higher revenue goals. So that place tends to be for the group where you can start to get from like inconsistent, shaky 1 to 3K months and go all the way up to like 5, 6, 7, 8, 10K months. When you're trying to create 10, 20, 30K revenue months, the one-to-one private coaching is the best place to be, or the elite masterclass that you can go into. So for now, I just want to talk to you about what we do inside the coaching, whether that's the sales refresh or the one-to-one. It's going to be the same stuff. So the sales refresh is really for coaching program for coaches, consultants, service-based business owners who know they're good at what they do, but they're tired of inconsistent revenue. They're tired of conversations that don't go anywhere, head full of noise, telling them that it should not be this hard. What is happening? You know, we are just fighting against ourselves here. We've got a lot of noise going on, and we just haven't got a simple plan to create that revenue goal. There isn't a pathway from where you are to where you want to be that you have decided that you want to get good at executing. And that will be the same with the one-to-one coaching as well. We have to find a pathway that's unique for you. So if you're somewhere between that scrappy kind of inconsistency and steady 5 to 10K months you know are possible, then the group is definitely for you. And we work on the three things at the same time, the three things that work together, because they're always these kind of areas that I see people get stuck at every single time. The first one is the identity and the belief, because here is what happens. You have a plan, you have a really simple plan, the right number of clients, needed to hit the revenue goal, the right offer, a clear way to get there, and then your brain starts playing silly beggars and it tells you can't do it, you're not the expert, why would anyone pay you for that? It'll never work, you can't make it work specifically. And instead of learning the skill to make the plan work, you change the plan. You change the offer, you create a new offer, you create a different price, you go over to a different platform, and nothing ever compounds because you keep starting over and over again. So, what we build in the sales refresh is the thinking that lets you back the plan and stay with it. So that's why it works, because you know why people want to pay you. You know why you've created your offer. You've remembered how valuable it is, why this can actually be really simple. And because you have it there, you stop arguing with yourself. You stop arguing and battling your way out of your own strategy. You're like, I'm really bought into this. Now, that doesn't mean you don't have any head drama as you go along, but you have a place to come back in and get coaching and support for it. And the second area we work on is marketing. And I don't mean the latest tactic on TikTok. And that's not, if you're wanting that kind of stuff, I'm not for you. I mean, lifelong skills for how to find your best buyers, how to get inside their head and translate what you do so it lands for them, not just what you want to say and how you want it to come out. Because so often we say what we want to say from our point of view and it completely just misses the mark. And then people don't book time with you or they don't buy from you. They can't buy from you because you haven't told them they actually need to hear to move forward. So you'll learn the whole process and framework of activation, grabbing attention, building desire, creating trust, and moving people in a very simple plan. And when I say simple plan, I'm talking about 2 or 3 areas to show up. I'm not talking about going across all the different social channels, having an email list, a podcast, networking. It's 2 to 3 things. Some of my clients never use social media. Some never go face to face out into the world. They do it in a way that plays to their strengths and they all get results. Because when you learn the foundational skill of how to connect your best buyers and move them towards you, you can do it anywhere. Every strategy works. You can show up anywhere and make it work. And then the third thing that we look at is your sales skills and process, specifically, so learning how to sell confidently, how to answer objections, how to talk about money. It's a big one for people. You know, this is business to business stuff. Even if you're business to consumer, it's still like talking about investing without flinching or contracting in. And then move people to a decision. That does not mean like sleazy tactical yes at all costs. It just means you get people very informed, create safety, you explore, and you lead people to a really good informed decision. And this is where I really want you to hear something because this bit is, I feel, is like really reassuring to people. Like a lot of the time, people will say like a 30% conversion is good. Like if you're converting 30% of your calls, for me, that means like 7 of them are ineffective. It's not a bad starting point, but I'm suggesting that there is space to build on this. So that means to sign 10 clients, you'd have to have 30 calls. And that just seems like a lot. No wonder people think like I'm overwhelmed, I don't have time for this. But when you learn the skills, the frameworks, the process, and you nudge that up incrementally towards 60, 70, 80%, it means you need half the number of calls. So when I was coaching Emma in the group, she came in and I said, how many sales calls? Let's like do the maths. And she was like, I'm going to need 10 because my conversion's at this rate. And I'm like, that's what you need right now. But like go into the group, start working on the sales calls because you already have them booked in. You need half the number of calls. You spend less time in conversations that don't go anywhere. You make more money. You help more people. The maths is completely different. Your business looks completely different very, very quickly. And all of that is very learnable skill, every single bit of it. It's not talent. It's not like gift of the gab. It's skill. And skills are built through practice, repetition, support, which is exactly what you get when you come into coaching. So why people stay stuck and why it feels different is, I think the thing about any skill is it gets messy. And this is where a lot of people go wrong. They start learning, it feels hard, and they think it should not feel hard. And being told that business should be really easy and effortless, so they stop and they tell themselves the plan's not working, they change the plan, was never the plan, it was the learning curve. It was your appetite to feel all of this, keep going anywhere. So the more willing you are to get it wrong and keep going, the faster that you learn, the faster you get the outcome. And I'll help you through every bit of it. But when your plan has 2 or 3 places just to show up, you know what to say, you have a process, there's kind of nowhere for it to hide. You actually go and do it. And when things knock you off track, which they will, whether that's life stuff or your thoughts, we get into what happened and what you were telling yourself, and we get you back moving again. And it's because you've got such a simple plan, you don't need more complication. You need simple, backed up with the right beliefs. And the results that tend to be possible in the group, the people that came in recently, with Pam, she joined, and within 6 weeks of joining, she's made £10,000 for her business. That was at the last count. I think it's probably she's already got some sales skills. She already had an offer. She'd forgotten how valuable it was. She'd stopped having conversations. She'd stopped putting herself out there. She felt a bit vulnerable. She'd retracted back. And within 6 weeks, she was like, I cannot believe the difference is just like night and day. I love what I'm doing again now. And that for me is like the ultimate win. And yes, she's making money while she's doing that. There was actually less work that she was doing. I'm actually doing less than what I was doing before and making more money. Emma hit consistent 10K months within 3 months. And she was starting the year off January, Feb. Well, like, I just don't know how I'm going to make this work. She started bolstering the belief it's possible. Hang on a second. People want this. It's my duty to go out and offer it. Hang on a second. Let me structure the offer so it makes me money and it helps people more. It gives them like a stronger, more robust result. And she looked at her processes and everything. And she was like, my God, it's actually so much easier to do this. I've just been feeling really glum, really like shit about my results, and it's been hampering my ability to get excited for people. So she shifted that, and literally like 2K, 3K clients came in. And now we're about 4 or 5 months on, 4 months on, 3 months on. She's hitting 10K months. You know, Lara, she's a tech consultant. She's making 6K months doing what she loves in a third of the time it took her before, because she was just wasting energy being busy and not learning the skills and the processes to welcome that value in, to go and create it, put it out there and welcome it in. She had a thought that it's going to be hard. It's going to take people a long time to trust her. And she just did a post on that today. You can build trust in an email in one post. It doesn't need to take a long amount of time. Everything you learn compounds. Every month you're in that space, you're building on what came before, like you're seeing that momentum. This is why you look back at October and November and you'll not recognize where you started when you get into the group program. So I want to invite you to book a call with me. The link is going to go into the chat. We'll talk about where you are now. We'll talk about what you want your business to look like by the end of the year. And I'll tell you, like, straight off whether that is a realistic goal, whether the sales refresh is the right place and where to focus the skill and the effort first. You know, if you're getting clients to calls but they're not converting, you'll start at a different place to where you are if you need to learn how to get people to sales calls. What you'll actually get is 3 core modules, if you will, on-demand learning, covering identity and belief, marketing and messaging, sales skills and conversion. So none of those sort of teachings are longer than 15 minutes. You drop in, you work on what's relevant to you right now. There's no sequence to keep up with. So it's not like you can't, it's like impossible to fall behind. There's live coaching calls every Monday and Thursday. You put your hand up, you get coached, you get help. You also get to listen to other people getting coached. That's really powerful. It's more powerful than what people expect. I've like done that firsthand as well when I've been in a group and I was like, I don't think I've got a question. Someone asked a question. I was like, oh, that was the thing that I didn't know I needed to know. That's helped me massively. Thank you for asking that. Watching someone be coached on it. So you start to see patterns in the like what questions are getting asked and how we answer them. All calls are recorded, so if you can't make them live, you can catch the replay. And the Slack supports 7 days a week. So anytime something comes up, a question, a wobble, a moment where your head's doing something and you can't see straight, and you're like, I've got a sales call and I've got this like doubt coming in, you post it and you get help. And when you join before the 31st of July, you'll get a 90-minute one-to-one with me personally, where we get very decided on your offer, your pricing, your best client, your marketing plan. This matters more than most people realize, because I see it all the time. People find it easier to change their offer or drop their price than learn the skill to sell the offer at the price they actually want to charge. So they keep shifting things and wondering why nothing is landing. We saw all that out at the start. You can begin with total clarity, you know where to start in the group and where to get in and where to learn and skill up. You don't spend the first few months still undecided on stuff. And that's why it works fast. That's why you can see that like hockey stick growth. And once you're decided, it's not like you're never going to have any like thoughts or moments of drama about it. That's normal. It's where you bring that back into the group and the calls and you get coached through it. So you're constantly moving powerfully through your blockers that historically you would have sat in your office and stayed stuck. Don't want that for anyone anymore. What you've got is too powerful and too great to not get out into the world and not to make money from it and not to have that exchange of value. So some of you might be thinking, yes, that all sounds great, but I haven't got much time. It's 1 to 2 hours a week. If you're coaching privately one-on-one, we meet once a week for about an hour. If you're in the group, there are 2 opportunities. There's 2 group calls. You don't have to come to any of the group calls if you didn't want to. That on-demand learning and the Slack channel is super powerful. But you can come to the calls that you can come to, and that is all it needs. You're already posting, you're already sending DMs, you're already having calls. You're not adding to your week. You're doing the same things but better with support and actually getting results from them. Like I said, Lara was making a shaky sort of 1 to 3K months. She's making 6K months, so doubled the revenue in about 3 months of joining. And she's doing what she loves, but in a third of the time it took her before. So you don't need more time. You just need to be spending the time on the things in the right way, which is always skill building, bolstering belief, and then the practicality of it. So I know some of you might have some questions about what we've gone through and maybe the group as well. So pop that in the group chat. What questions are coming up for you based on what we've talked about today? Based on, yeah, what's in your heads? Tell me, what are you asking yourself? Some of you might be asking, can I make it work? What if I can't be on all the calls? Yes, absolutely. Calls are just one element of it. You could miss 4 weeks of calls, come back in and pick up exactly what you need right now. There's no sequence to it. You cannot fall behind. It wraps around your life and your business, not the other way around. You can watch a replay, you can scan for what's relevant, you listen to the bit that lands, you get coaching if it doesn't, and then you take action. That's how you get momentum. And I'm always honest with you as well. If you want to book one of those information calls and then you have a goal and there is no obvious, clear, sensible pathway to get you there. I had someone that was coming in and they weren't really making any money at all and they wanted 15K months. There isn't an obvious pathway to do that in 6 months. Just tell you that. This is what I would see is achievable. And how about we work to get there instead? So, we can work on that, and it depends where you are at your stage of business. That's what that call's really handy for, is to go through everything so that you can see how it's going to work for you. How are you going to become that person that does make it work? So most people in the group are hitting that consistent 5, 7, 8. Like I say, 2 people are beyond 10K months right now, and they're coming to the end of their time. But if you're in that kind of patchy, inconsistent 1 to 3K months and you want a clear path towards 5 to 8K months, this is exactly the place. If your goal is beyond 10K months, then book the call anyway, because we can have a conversation about the private work. But what I won't do is promise you numbers that aren't realistic, because that doesn't help anybody.